the words we use, the words we employ, the words we put out into the world, they become real. Even if you cannot touch them, you cannot see them, you cannot grab them, they exist and they create change. Right? So if you tell someone that you love someone, it creates a change inside that person. It becomes happy. Or on the other hand, if you tell someone that you hate someone, of course that person feels sad. And of course if you tell it to one person, it's okay. But if you tell it to more than 100%, you're hurting them. So you're constantly creating change by speaking out. So that's the first thing that I wanted to share for you. So every time you make a business presentation or a school presentation, this is the thing that you need to remember, that the words you use and the way you deliver them will make an impact enough to change somebody's life. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, the second thing that I want to tell you is that when people come up to stand and speak, there are two things that get in their way. Two things. Number one, self-consciousness. That means a guy comes up and says, maybe I didn't go to a good school. Maybe my English is not that good. Maybe I'm not dressed too well. Maybe I'm too old. So these are self-consciousness factors which hold you back from connecting with your audience, with your speaker, with your listeners. That's one thing that gets in your way. The second thing that gets in your way is you might think, oh man, I am the CEO of this company, or I'm the country manager of this company, or I'm the principal of this school, or hey man, I am the foreigner here, whatever it is, no? So that's your ego getting in your way. Two things get in your way: self-consciousness, pride. Shyness and pride. Put together, they are both what we call fear. So to break away from this, to break away from self-consciousness and to break away from your ego getting into it, I'm going to recommend 7 steps for you. 7 steps on how to become an effective, powerful, impact-driven speaker. That means every time you get up to speak, not only do people say, wow, very good, but they act upon what you say. You become the change creator, like Martin Luther King, like Ninoy, like Jose Rizal. Every time they stood up to speak, they made a positive change in their environment. Right? Is that true? All 3 of these are heroes. Even nowadays, in this current modern world, there's a guy called Tony Melotto. When he stands to speak, he creates impact and impression. And each one of us can be like that. When we learn to communicate well, when we learn to create an impression that is positive and good for the community. It's purpose-driven. Does that make sense? Okay. Questions so far? Is this good for you? Is my speed okay? Yeah? I'm sorry, I don't speak 100% good Tagalog, but I speak Tagalog. So if anytime you have a problem with my Bombay, you can ask me to translate it in Tagalog. I'm just kidding. Are you with me? By the way, I'm not Japanese, okay? People might tell you I'm Japanese. I'm not Japanese. Okay. So, questions so far? It's very good to ask questions because so I know where you're coming from. I have no idea where you're coming from. Of course, I know you're from UST and you're from earlier Chivos and you're from Britannica. What I mean to say where you're coming from is how much do you know and what's your amount of experience. So if you have no questions, okay. But if you have questions, much better. Wala na? Tuloy po sir. Wala na? Sir. Galing ang sombrero niya. Okay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put together self-consciousness and ego. Alright, 2 things. Make sense? Now,